What about the paints? Because this guy, I remember like when we looked at this guy, we're like, oh cool, they painted the tatters on there. It looks kind of crappy, but it's there. And then, oh, oh, they didn't continue it. So did they do better on this one? Because this is the maximum release. Surely they can spare like an eighth of an eighth of an eighth of an ounce of paint. They didn't even do it up here this time. These bastards will do anything to save money, guys. They hate you. They hate you. They do not care about their customers. And I don't care if it's the people at the top of the chain or at the bottom of the chain. Somewhere along the line, there's a serious problem with the Marvel Legends team. I don't know about other Marvel products, but the Marvel Legends team specifically, there's a problem.
Hey there guys, I wasn't able to make a video this week, so I decided to talk about this instead. As some of you may be aware, the Marvel Legends Maximum Hulk recently came out and some people have been reviewing it lately, as you've seen in the clip at the beginning of the video. Now I'm not going to talk about the quality of these figures, mainly because these figures have already been coming out and I just don't see how anyone can defend this. I think most people can tell just how much of a ripoff these figures are. However, there is one thing I want to talk about, and that is about this argument or mentality of let people enjoy what they buy. Now, I've recently watched The Amazing's video on the Maximum Spider-Man, and in that video he said something I disagreed with, and I just want to make one thing perfectly clear. Just because I disagree with something that he says or I want to criticize something that he said doesn't mean that I hate him or that I'm trying to start beef with him. I'm a subscriber of his and I actually do enjoy his videos a lot, especially his Power Ranger videos and his Super Sentai and Kamen Rider ones.
Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to start with the Hasbro Maximum Series Spider-Man. Now, before we get into anything, I want to preface this because a lot of people have been utterly disrespectful. Whatever your opinion is on the toy, that is fine. But when you insult a person for enjoying something that they spent their money on, you've gone too far. Let people enjoy the things that they want to enjoy. That is a personal preference, not a public one. Now with that being said, let's get to the video.
Let people enjoy what they enjoy, and this is a personal thing, not a public one. Here's the thing, when it comes to YouTube and social media, these are public places essentially. When you go out there and talk about how you're going to spend your money, you're pretty much opening yourself up to criticism or any type of interaction that comes from it. Now I personally try not to be rude as much as possible, even when I really want to be, but here's the thing. The main reason people are speaking out and are willing to be more negative towards this, even to the people who are supporting these products, it's mainly because even if you want to play that logic of let me enjoy and simply do not buy the product yourself, that mentality is always going to bite you in the butt no matter who you are, regardless of whether you support it or not. Consumers should be encouraging each other to not support these corporations whenever they're trying to screw them over, and even if that means being a bit rude. Especially when you keep in mind that this is very subjective. For example, for me, calling someone a sellout or a corporate bootlicker, to me that is not like super offensive, but to some people that is offensive. If you can't handle that type of interaction, then don't go out on social media and talk about how you're gonna buy it. Now here's the thing, when it comes to corporations, when one of them gets away with something, they all want to do it afterwards. And we've been seeing this with companies like McFarlane. McFarlane is more of an independent company, but despite that they've been increasing prices and now they're doing their own version of the Maximum series. Keep in mind, these are the same type of figures they've been selling you forever, but now all of a sudden they put some label on them and they put a few extra little things and suddenly they jack up the price to like 2 or 3 times what they used to be. And for anyone who tries to bring up things like tariffs, you need to understand corporations have been dealing with stuff like this since day one. Ever since they started outsourcing their stuff to other countries, they've had to deal with stuff like this since the beginning. The only difference that in the past, they had to figure out the solutions in order to bring their products to the consumer. They understood that without the consumer, their companies were going to go under. Unfortunately, corporations don't do that anymore. Now they'll take any excuse they can to raise prices in order to maximize profits. And unfortunately, a lot of people, for some reason, they just cannot see this. I personally cannot get behind this mentality because basically you're saying shut up and let people consume. And even if you're the type of person who stays away from buying any of this stuff, The problem is when prices go up, eventually it's going to affect you whether you want to or not. You have to be very delusional to believe that when the pricing went up to $30, that didn't affect anybody. There are plenty of people out there who have given up buying figures, and if prices keep going up, that's going to affect even more. Ultimately, your enjoyment of the product is causing other people to not be able to enjoy this hobby anymore. That's why more people need to speak up about this, and even if that means people get more disrespectful, it should still happen, because otherwise more and more people are not going to be able to enjoy this hobby anymore. Keep in mind, the main reason people like companies like Hasbro and McFarlane is because they're the cheap companies. You know, I myself, even though I buy Mafex and amazing Yamaguchi figures, I don't want to spend, $60 or $80 or $100 on a figure, but the main reason I do it is because I don't have an alternative. If there was a company like Hasbro making DC figures at $20, $30, then I would buy those instead. Hasbro is the one that got me into toy collecting. If it wasn't for Power Rangers Lightning Collection, I don't know if I would even be in this hobby. And now that I'm making videos about this stuff, it really, disappoints me with the direction that they're going. I don't want to see people get priced out of this hobby, and unfortunately, the more people are willing to give Hasbro and McFarlane, all these other toy companies, the wiggle room to get away with this stuff, the more it's going to happen. What was that old saying? You give them an inch and they'll take a mile. When it comes to reviewers, I don't have any problem with them buying this stuff, as long as, they're honest with their audience, and they're not trying to push this toxic positivity stuff onto them. When they get upset with the criticism over these products, or when people are being, quote, disrespectful, to me it just makes me question, why do they care? They don't make money, from Hasbro, so why do they care? Ultimately, it just makes them look like salesmen. They don't care about, giving you the information that you need on these products. They care more about convincing you to buy this stuff. To clarify, I'm not saying that about The Amazing, I just think he's not looking at the big picture. All this stuff is basically free money for these corporations. The more you enjoy these products, the more you're going to negatively impact others. Now, I know I've already said this, but it's basically true. When you enjoy these products, you're basically helping other people not be able to enjoy this hobby anymore, as they'll be priced out. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. You should always be pro-consumer. Even if you don't care about other people, you should still do it regardless, because it benefits yourself. Anyway, please like and subscribe, and if you guys are wondering, my next video is gonna be on an amazing Yamaguchi figure. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.